Fast forward 7 whole years as we continue our trek through the timeline of the Jigsaw Killer with the 8th film in the series, 2017's Jigsaw. 2010's Saw 3D, the final chapter, was supposed to have been the last film in the series, but the producers did not want to leave their crowd hanging, so tag along with us here at Sinister Snapshots as we continue to march through the series. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. The film begins with an intense car chase between the cops and a criminal named Edgar Munson. The police layered spikes in the road, which busts the criminal's tires, causing the pursuit to continue on foot. Edgar makes his way to a rooftop where he's met by officers who pull their guns on him as he holds a device with a remote trigger in his hands. As the officers yell at him, he begins to demand for Detective Halloran. He says that if the detective does not arrive in 17 minutes, then 5 people are going to die. Halloran arrives on the scene, and Edgar begins to explain that there's a game going on, and he has to choose whether either the 5 people or Edgar himself will die. Edgar pulls the trigger just before the officer shoots it out of his hand. One of the cops shot Edgar in the chest, despite Halloran's orders not to do so. In Edgar's feeble breaths, he tells Halloran that the game has just started. The film cuts to a room where 5 people wake up, chained to a wall with buckets on their heads. A recording plays from John Kramer, or Jigsaw, explaining that in order to survive, they must make a blood sacrifice. As the recording ends, the chains then start to pull the group toward the wall filled with buzzsaws. As they get closer, a woman, Anna, cuts her arm and is freed. She tells the others to cut themselves to free themselves. 2 of the men, Ryan and Mitch, follow suit, while another woman, Carly, gets cut from behind. The 5th person is unconscious and realizes too late what to do, and is assumed to be killed as this part is not seen on camera. The others are all freed from the buckets, and doors open behind the wall filled with saws, but the chains are still clasped around each of their necks as the victims walk into a barn room. Edgar is taken to the hospital and is put into a medically induced coma while the doctors monitor his status. The officers tell the doctor that they need to speak with him, so they need to wake him up, but the doctor informs the men that he's not yet stable enough to be awakened from the coma. Sometime later, a woman is jogging through a park where she notices people turned and looking behind her. She takes her headphones out and turns around where she sees a body hanging from a bridge with one of the same buckets on their head that the victims of Jigsaw's game were wearing. The body is brought into the morgue where it's inspected by the morticians. They see a chunk of flesh that's cut off from the victim's neck in the shape of the traditional Jigsaw piece, and an audio file is pulled out from his neck. In the recording, Kramer tells them that there are now only 4 people left. In the barn, the 4 remaining victims start getting pulled toward another death trap until Mitch grabs a tape next to the infamous Jigsaw puppet. The chains stop, and another recording from Kramer plays. He mentions that someone among them has been injected with a poison, and there are 3 needles before them. One with the antidote, one with a saline solution, and another with hydrochloric acid. The audience finds out that Carly stole a purse from a woman that later died after she suffered an asthma attack and couldn't reach the inhaler in her purse. Carly notices one of the needles is marked with the number 3.53 on it, which is how much money she stole from the woman. The chains start to pull the 4 up toward the ceiling to hang them until Carly takes a needle. Ryan, who grabbed all 3, yells at Carly to take one, but she refuses. Ryan sticks all 3 needles in Carly's neck, which releases them all from the chains, but also causes Carly to die. The remaining 3 victims figure that they've been placed into the game because of a wrong that they had done in their lives. Ryan admits to selling bad mortgages and cheating on his wife. Mitch sold a motorcycle to a young man who later died in an accident. Anna only recalls being with her husband when their baby died, which she says was caused by him falling asleep and rolling over on top of the baby, smothering it. As they progress toward their next task, Ryan tries to walk through a locked door with no exit written on it, despite the other 2's warnings. His foot falls through the wooden floorboard and gets caught in wires that tighten around his leg. As he asks for help, the wires tighten around his leg, and the next tape from Kramer instructs them to pull a handle to a lever in order to release the wire from Ryan's leg. Detective Halloran finds the body of a woman, who appears to be Carly from the game, who had her face melted off after she supposedly jumped from a building's roof, and 2 morticians inspect the body. They tell the detective that the woman did not die from the fall, as her body seems to be in a state of rigor mortis, insinuating that she was dead for longer. As they continue to inspect the body, they see a jigsaw-shaped piece of flesh missing from Carly's tongue. Meanwhile, Anna and Mitch try to reach the lever to help Ryan, but they get trapped in a silo after reaching for a remote hanging from the ceiling. A recording from Jigsaw begins to play, and directly after this, the silo begins to fill with grain. After the grain stops pouring on them, pitchforks and other objects begin to fall from the ceiling. Ryan reaches for the lever himself, saving Anna and Mitch, but the wires sever his leg. Logan meets up with Eleanor at a bar and tells her that Detective Halloran may suspect them to have something to do with the recent killings. Eleanor tells Logan that when the body of the man with the bucket on his head turned up, she was not at home alone like she told Halloran. She explains that she was at her studio, which she invites Logan to. The room is full of models of Jigsaw's previous traps. Halloran's partner, Hunt, followed Logan and Eleanor and takes photos of them in the studio. The film cuts back to Edgar, who's still in the medically induced coma. The guard on duty is asleep, and the curtain at Edgar's bedside is closed, blocking view from the outside. A syringe is inserted into the IV bag, and the substance wakes Edgar from his coma. After seeing an exact blood sample match on one of the corpses that perfectly matched John Kramer's sample from a decade earlier, Hunt explains to Halloran that the commissioner wants Kramer's body exhumed to prove that he is really dead. Meanwhile, Halloran continues to do some digging on Logan and gets a call that Edgar had disappeared. At the barn, the group tends to Ryan's leg, and Mitch finds a recording tape that says his name. When he presses it, he gets grabbed and hung up by his ankle. The recording goes on to explain that the person that Mitch sold his motorcycle with faulty brakes to was Kramer's nephew. Kramer goes on to tell Mitch that in order to be saved from this trap, he will have to retrieve a motorcycle brake handle. Anna tries to help by stopping the motorcycle engine that's powering the mechanism. The trap stops in time for Mitch to grab the brake handle, but the machine turns back on and shreds him to death. Hunt calls Halloran as he's pulling up Kramer's casket, and when it's opened, the body in the casket is revealed to be Edgar Munson, and the cops trail to the farm where the game is being played. At the farm, Anna is knocked unconscious by someone wearing a pig mask. She wakes up chained to the wall alongside Ryan, who's had his severed leg treated. The man removes the pig mask to reveal himself as John Kramer. John goes on to explain that they've both done awful things in their lives. Ryan caused his best friend to get into a fatal car accident, and Anna was actually the one who had suffocated her child and planted the body next to her husband to frame him. Her husband later hung himself out of guilt. John places a shotgun with one bullet in the barrel and tells them that the key to survival is in the middle of the room. After Kramer leaves, Anna tries to get the shotgun to kill Ryan with. She fires the gun, but it backfires, killing her in the process. Ryan notices that the bullet shell itself was what had contained the key, but after firing the gun, the key has been destroyed. Logan and Eleanor head over to the barn where Halloran finds them. Eleanor gets away, but Logan is caught. Logan and Halloran both wake up in a basement with devices around their necks that are rigged with laser cutters. They're standing in the middle of the room with two buttons, with a final tape giving them the choice to press a button that would kill or save the other. Halloran goes first and presses Logan's button. As the lasers start to activate, Logan admits his wrongdoing, which is that he was the doctor that mixed up Kramer's x-rays with another patient, meaning John's cancer could have been detected earlier. The lasers appear to kill Logan, and Halloran is pulled to the back of the wall, with the lasers activating on his device. Halloran pleads for mercy, admitting that he let innocent people die while real criminals walked free. The lasers turn off after Halloran confesses, and he believes that he's free. Logan stirs, then gets up, still alive. He removes the device and walks over to pull off a sheet, revealing the long decomposed corpses of Anna and Ryan. Logan tells Halloran that he was the fifth person in the initial trap, and that it was a decade ago when it happened. Kramer took Logan in as an apprentice. The bodies that were found identical to Carly and Mitch were other criminals that Halloran let go. One of the criminals he let walk was Edgar, who killed Logan's wife. With Halloran's confession recorded, Logan leaves, and the lasers slice Halloran's head, killing him, and the credits roll. That wraps up our Sinister Snapshots recap of Jigsaw. If you enjoyed this recap, do not forget to subscribe to Sinister Snapshots, your one-stop destination for the best horror film recaps. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on the latest and most horrifying tales from the best and most chilling films in the horror genre. And of course, leave a comment below about what other horror movie recaps or sinister stories you'd like to see next.